Hello everyone and welcome to my video discussing, recapping and reviewing Love Island. Hope you all had a lovely weekend. Right, back to it. Relationships get complicated. What with the Jess and Ronnie situation, and maybe it's a new love triangle with Harriet, and even Manveer made a move. And let's not forget, it was a bit of a spicy choice when they played the game and Io picked Umar to kiss as 100% his type on paper. But we'll get back to that as the episode starts with Mimi and she is on her date with Omar. They each felt they looked great. Mimi said she's happy and that this is needed. She said Io was coupled up with someone else. They discussed where they're each located, and she's from Portsmouth and Omar is from Croydon. She said she's finished her mental health nurse training and he's a PE teacher, and that this will aid him to be a great dad. Mimi looked pleased. Back at the villa, Uma and Jess are chatting. She said Joey's speech was nice, and Samantha came and thanked her for not picking Joey. The girl said there's more of a connection with Io, but that's more of a physical connection. Jess didn't like her speech by Ronnie, that he should do one. Then to the boys, where Joey said to Ronnie he didn't know how he felt and that he didn't know who this other person in the speech was. And Ronnie said that the other person was Harriet, and Joey told him he's going to have to deal with it. Harriet said she feels fine to Patsy. They discussed the bold, direct move to Harriet by Ronnie, as the speech was about her, and she said she's not doing any more love triangles, and probably that's the most sensible thing she said. Harriet was in the confessionals and she said she's shocked and she's not closing Ronnie off because, that was a statement from him. Then to the boys, Ronnie said to Io that he thought he was going to pick Mimi. Io said he was going to pick her and that Mimi is his first choice. In the confessionals, he said he likes Mimi and that he didn't feel good she was going on a date with another man. But how convenient, it's more like he's jealous. What do you think? Comment below. Then Harriet and Sean were chatting. She thanked him for picking her and said it was a lovely speech. He said he meant it and that he's genuine. He said he wants to be at the top of the Christmas tree. He thinks she's stunning. Jess and Ronnie were chatting. She said of the recoupling speech that it was a poor choice of words, that he'd not said one nice thing about her and said her eyes have massively opened. She said she's hugely open. He said he's not great with words and that he was wrong. He apologized. She said she won't hold a grudge over it, but it was left awkwardly. Uma and Io were on the terrace. She said she feels bad and knows him and Mimi have a connection, and he can explore that, but he's her favourite. He said he's happy and he's very much interested in her and to get to know her. And when he asked, she said there'd be cuddles in due time. He said he thinks about the blindfolded kiss a lot and wanted a longer kiss. She said also in due time and that she needs time to blossom. In my opinion, he's confusing, as a minute ago he was saying to the boys he basically preferred Mimi. Anyway, then on to another confusing guy, Kieran, and he's with Nicole. She said she was impressed by his speech, and he said no more love triangles, it's a straight line, and they shared a kiss. Back to Mimi and Omar. She said he's her type, tall, dark, handsome, a pretty boy. He said he likes a pretty face, a nose ring, and basically was describing her. Then she said that she was in a serious relationship for 2 years. He said he's never been in a relationship, as his emotions with women were like a roller coaster, whatever that means. He said he thinks he'll find love here, and she said she hopes so. And he said he's excited, that he's lost for words, and that her face is a pleasant sight. He added, as long as you're looking for love, we're looking for love together. And that's my quote of the episode. Back to the girls. Uma said she didn't want to have to pull away from a kiss if Io had tried it. Then Nicole said she kissed Kieran. Harriet didn't look too pleased, but didn't really say anything. Mimi is back with Omar in the main villa. Uma was the first person to approach Mimi and gave her a hug. Mimi said the date was great and she was not annoyed with Uma. Omar said the date was sick, good vibes, and that he's definitely open to getting to know her more, although he also said it's the first day and he can't throw all his eggs in one basket. Back to the girls. Mimi said Omar's 6'1", with good vibes, very flirty, and they all love that he's a teacher. In the confessionals, Mimi said Omar is literally her type. Then to Samantha and Joey. They said they're happy and relieved and that it was lovely words in a speech and what she wanted to hear. They said they're king and queen of the castle. Then Manveer pulls Jess for a chat. Finally, it looks like he's making some moves, or he'd become part of the furniture soon. He said to Jess, obviously he finds her very attractive. She said she doesn't want to shut anything down, that she's happy to get to know him. I'm sensing a butt coming up. Then she said, there's not an instant spark. Oh, there it is. But she also did say that this can grow in time. He said it's fine. He said he would have picked her in the recoupling. In the confessionals, Jess said Manveer's a gentleman, but that she basically loves a bad boy. Well, more fool her. Harriet pulled Ronnie for a chat. She said to see if he's okay. He said, I said what I said, that it was honest but came out wrong. She said it was awkward. He said hopefully they'll have a date. They each said they'd get each other into trouble, maybe even another love triangle. But hopefully not another overrated, boring love triangle. Mimi went to chat to Ayo. She said she's happy to be there and still taking it in. Then it was nighttime. Joey said to Omar and the boys that everyone's still open. Omar said Mimi is his type on paper to Ayo. It looks like Joey is especially still open. There's no progress with him and Samantha. Anyway, Patsy was not too pleased with Veer's latest moves and said she's gamed out to the girls in the dressing room. Jess said to Ronnie that he's got a lot of making up to do. But personally, I think she should just get the hint. There was no cuddling going on. Then it was morning time with the squinty eyes and the sunglasses. Jess said sarcastically that she's feeling fantastic. They all joked about Ronnie's speech. Omar pulled Uma for a chat. She said she's good. He said she's the first person he's talking to for the day. He said if she was in the club, he might choose her. In the confessionals, he said he needs to know more about Uma. Then there was a text for Nicole and Kieran's first date. All the girls were excited for her, and she said she was nervous. They went for the date on the beach. Kieran said she would get along well with his mum and that his mum said he'd better find a Welsh girl. She said that her mum said not to find another rugby player. And he said his last girlfriend that he had arguments with them, and she said that's probably because he cheated, and that the last guy that she was with was also a rugby player and they split up because he was cheating with his physio. And basically that's why her family are against rugby players for her. And he said he will prove her and the family wrong, and they had another kiss. Back to the villa where Patsy was talking to Omar. She said she's coupled up with Manveer and that it's not really floating her boat. She said she would like to get to know him, and they discussed that she has tattoos but he has none. He seemed not to like tattoos, but she joked for him to get her name tattooed. It seemed quite obvious that he's not into her. Anyway, Ronnie pulled Harriet for a chat, and Jess wanted to know where they're sitting as she was chatting to the other girls. Harriet and Ronnie were chatting as, again, he said that he meant what he said. He said there's obviously something there, and she agreed. She sort of things that said that they're okay with Sean, but she sounded unsure, and that she likes Ronnie, basically. The girls were spying on Harriet and the Ronnie chat, and in the confessionals, Jess was annoyed and said that Ronnie has an audacity. Well, I told her that she should get the hint. Anyway, Jess was bad-mouthing Harriet for fancying the boys. But in my view, objectively, if she's going to be bitter, it should be with Ronnie and not this obvious jealousy of Harriet. Uma said to Io that he's been welcoming, and Mimi quickly broke up the chat to pull Io. But realistically, he should be pulling her. I mean, what are these girls up to? Io said he's okay to Mimi, that it was an interesting night and good to get to know Uma more, and that basically his speech would have been for Mimi, and she said it's nice to hear, and she's going to give Omar the time of day, and that good things come to those who wait. I mean, she definitely has deep feelings for Io already, it seems really clear. Kieran and Nicole are back in the villa. They each went to the boys and girls respectively. Kieran said they kissed, and Joey said they looked good together. Nicole said to the girls that he said his mum would love her, and they kissed in the sea, and she said it was perfect. Harriet didn't look too pleased. Then there was a text. Tonight you'll be having a pre-loved red party. They were all happy, and Ronnie joked he would take Jess and Harriet, one holding each hand, to the hideaway. You know what, Ronnie? They'd probably both go. Then to the girls, Mimi said to Harriet and Patsy that she doesn't think she can be asked. Patsy said Io's options are open. Mimi said if she talks more, she'll get feelings, and Patsy said it's tough. I mean, from my point of view, it's obvious she already has feelings. She even said as much last week. But what's your opinions? Has she already got feelings for Io? Some of the group were joking about the only way of is Essex, where Joey Essex is actually from, and Samantha admits she's a big Towie fan. The girl said that Mimi is upset with the hand-holding, and Uma said that Io said he's interested in her and wants to get to know her, but she did say it's not fair to Mimi. I mean, it looks to me like Io is pulling a Kieran. What's your thoughts on how Io is navigating this? Then to another game where Samantha picks Joey to burst a balloon with. There's the same old game stuff like a lot of kissing. Speaking of kissing, Samantha was all over Joey. Then Sean, corny boy, said someone's in for a sweet treat. He kissed Jess. Well, that was random. Anyway, Ronnie didn't look to like that. Then Kieran picked Harriet for the most red flags. She argued back that it was him. Ronnie kissed Jess and Harriet for the two sexiest in the villa, and Jess was happy for being picked first. What a very low bar for her. Anyway, Io picked Nicole for the balloon burst, probably to avoid having to choose between Mimi and Uma. But then the card said to snog the islander who is 100% your type on paper, and he kissed Uma. Ouch. Mimi looked upset. They all clapped awkwardly, and the boys were laughing. It ended with the girls looking awkward. It was an interesting episode, and it was good to see some moves being made by Ronnie and Manveer. However, the girls are being a bit too soppy. What did you think of the episode? Comment below. Thank you for watching, and catch you tomorrow for the next episode.